Okay, here again on the Rich Van Tassel channel. Today is Monday, October 26th, and we said we were going to do the remaining top 50 players on Saturday, the 24th. We were unable to, so we're giving them a review today. We're starting with number 41. We have Paul Gasol, the center for the Chicago Bulls. Actually had a very good comeback year last year. 18.5 points, 11.8 rebounds, which is very impressive. 1.9 blocks per game, so almost 2 blocks per game is very impressive on 49% shooting. Really brought some leadership to that Chicago team. Really helped them a lot. Gave Derrick Rose a second option. Can he continue this year? We'll have to see. If he can, that'll certainly make Chicago again a formidable opponent, assuming they stay healthy. But we'll have to see what happens, and we'll go into that in the season previews. But Paul Gasol had a very good year last year. A lot of people might have thought he was on the downslide coming into his time with Chicago. That's why the Lakers let him go. But he showed that that is not the case because he played very well last year. So Paul Gasol, number 41. Number 42, the point guard for the San Antonio Spurs, Tony Parker. 14.4, 4.9, which aren't the best numbers, but he only played 28.7 minutes per game, so under 30. Look, if you took those numbers up to a 35 minutes per game, as you would expect most players to do, the San Antonio, we know they rest their starters, so his numbers would obviously be looking a lot better. You would like to see him get those assists up a bit, though. However, that's probably the lowest point. His points per game are not bad. He's certainly a leader, though. He's a champion, four-time champ, so he really solidifies that and gets players like Duncan and Kawhi Leonard in the position. So still one of the better point guards in this league, and that's Tony Parker at number 42. At 43, the point guard for the Charlotte Hornets now, back to the Hornets, is Kemba Walker. Averaged 17.4 points and 5.1 assists, which is pretty good numbers. However, he shot 39% from the field. That's not 39% three-point shooting. That's 39% of the field. He's really got to pick that up and improve his shooting percentage if Charlotte's ever going to want to take the next step. That's really what's holding his game back. Kemba Walker's still takes a lot of bad shots. He's not that bad of a shooter, but he really has to improve that. 39% is just not going to get the job done in the NBA, so he'll have to look to raise those numbers. And number 44, Isaiah Thomas, the backup guard, really just a six man. I mean, he's obviously a guard, that's his position, but he's not really a point guard, though he's only 5 feet 9 inches, so you don't expect him to play anything else. But he's just, a scorer off the bench is where I put him. 16.4 points per game last year in only 25.8 minutes, so he wasn't playing that much. Again, if you balanced his numbers out to 35 minutes, about that, you're looking at a guy close to 20 points per game, a little over 20 points per game actually, to be exact. So did it on 42% shooting. That's not good. That's from the floor. He's a good three-point shooter. Obviously, his size creates a bit of a problem for him on the defensive end. That's why you can't play him that many minutes. When he's in the game, though, he can certainly light it up with the best of them and can get to the rim. He's not afraid to take it to the rack. And he's also a very good free throw shooter when he gets fouled. So that's why we have Isaiah Thomas at number 44. At number 45 for the Chicago Bulls, their shooting guard. That's Jimmy Butler, 20 points per game, 5.8 rebounds per game now. 5.8 is pretty good for a shooting guard, though. A guy of his size, and especially with the way that team plays defense under Tom Thibodeau in the past. Obviously, Thibodeau's not the coach anymore, but in the past, you would expect him to get more rebounds than that. His points per game, not bad, obviously, at the 20 points. Shot pretty well from the floor. So he's a solid all-around player and one of the better defenders in the league. He's not afraid to take on the team's top defender on the other end and really look to lock them down. So that's what he does, and that's why we have Jimmy Butler at 45 on the list. At number 46, a guy who's not really known for his offense, that's Tony Allen, the shooting guard for the Memphis Grizzlies. Really just a defensive guy. He's a perennial all-defensive player of the year. Averages 2 steals per game. He can really defend a lot of positions. He can defend a point guard. He can obviously defend shooting guards or any guards for that matter. He can also defend smaller forwards and even power forwards. I've seen him on Kevin Durant at times. Now Kevin Durant's technically a small forward, but a guy who's at 7 feet tall. He's obviously creates a size mismatch, but they're not afraid to put Tony Allen on guys like that. He's only about 6'4", and he's willing to defend any guy. Really pressures the ball very well and allows that defense to get set. And he does have Marc Gasol on the back line, which helps him get or take chances on the outside and get some steals. Frankly, though, his offense is just not good enough, and that's what really hurts Memphis. You saw it in the playoffs against the Golden State Warriors. The Warriors just refused to play him on the defensive end and let him do basically whatever he wanted offensively. They were not concerned about him. It really clogged up the game, and you had to take him out. So you'd really like to see Tony Allen improve his offense. At this stage in his career, he is what he is, though, so that's really not going to happen. But when he's on the floor, he's certainly an offensive liability, and that's what really can hurt that team. But defensively, he's as good as anyone. So 46, Tony Allen. 47, the point guard for the Miami Heat, Goran Dragic. 16.3 points per game, 4.5 assists per game on 50% shooting. Now his shooting's obviously very good. It was actually a little over 50%, so that's really good for a point guard. The 4.5 assists per game, you'd like to see a little more, especially if he's only scoring 16.3. If he's scoring, 20, 21, and he's got 4.3 for point guard, that would be all right. When he's only averaging 16.3 and can't even get to 5 assists per game, though, really needs to be a little better than that. So what Dragic will have to do to continue his game. We'll see what happens with Miami this year if they have a bounce back year, and I'm sure the play of Goran Dragic will dictate how well they go this year. So Goran Dragic, number 47. At number 48, Joakim Noah, the center of the Chicago Bulls. He really rotates with Gasol. I don't consider them anything but just two centers playing. You would obviously have one of them listed as a power forward, but to me they're both centers. Joakim Noah had a bit of a down year last year, only 7.2 points, 9.6 rebounds, which is good, but this is a guy who's a very good rebounder, so not really his best effort, and 1.1 blocks per game. So injuries, I don't really remember any injuries with Joakim Noah, but his numbers were not that good last year. So he's certainly the team leader, a very good defensive player, and he's going to look to come back and have a bounce back year this year for the Chicago Bulls because while his numbers aren't bad, you expect a lot more from him. Obviously not on the offensive end, but he has shown the ability to score. But he's put up triple doubles, pretty frequently in the past. So you would expect more from him on the offensive end, and frankly on the rebounding end is where you would expect a lot more as well as blocking shots too. I mean, 1 block per game, just a little over 1. This is a guy who should be close to 2. So we'll see if he has a bounce back year this year. But that's 48, Joakim Noah, the Chicago Bulls. At 49, Andrew Wiggins, the shooting guard for the Minnesota Timberwolves, was the Rookie of the Year last year. A guy averaged 16.9 points per game, so just shy of 17. Shot 43.7%, so just shy of 44%. He's a rookie. You would like to see his shooting percentage goes up. His game should continue to improve, though, and if his shooting percentage continues to go up, you're going to be looking at a guy who's averaging about 20 points per game, close to 50% shooting, maybe even a little more. So Minnesota's really getting what they asked for from the top overall pick in Wiggins, and I'm looking for big things from from Minnesota this year. I don't know if it'll result in the playoffs, but I definitely see improvement with that team, and Andrew Wiggins' improvement will continue to go a long way towards that. So we'll see how that works out for that. But that's 49, Andrew Wiggins. And at 50, rounding out the list, now being a Celtic fan, a lot of people would probably think that I'm being biased, and I would say I probably am a little bit. But at 50, I have Paul Pierce, the small forward for the Los Angeles Clippers. Only averaged 12 points, 11.9 points per game last year. But again, that was only in 26.2 minutes. Was dealing with a lot of injuries. What you can't, the numbers though don't tell you what Paul Pierce brings to a team, and that's his leadership. He really helped out in Washington last year. I think Washington's sad to see him go, and he's looking to help that Clipper team climb the mountain. So if they're able to do so, then Paul Pierce will really solidify himself as one of the great. He's already great in my opinion. He's never gotten the respect he's due in the league, but Paul Pierce is a guy who's going to bring a lot of leadership to that team. We saw the way they crumbled against the Houston Rockets last year. You're not going to see that with Paul Pierce on your team. So that's why I had to give it to him. I had to pay, homage to the captain, as I call him, because when he was with the Celtics, he was the captain. So, any feedback, though, you want to give me, if you want to question that pick, I'm certainly willing to listen. But I love Paul Pierce, so I had to pay him that honor by rounding him out in the top 50. All right, so that's it for the top 50 players. Stay tuned. We're going to be breaking down the Eastern Conference. And then on tomorrow, Tuesday, we will be breaking down the Western Conference as well as the playoff predictions and awards for the postseason. So be sure to stay tuned for that. We'll be right back with you in just a moment. Thank you.